Making sure that you list the price of your home in a way that will net you the highest amount is one of the most important parts of selling. It's the beginning of the negotiation process. So, getting this right is super important to the success of selling your home. One of the biggest mistakes that we see sellers make is confusing the appraisal value and the market value. While these two things sound like they're similar, they're actually very different. The appraisal value does not really affect the market value, and the market value does not affect the appraisal value. I know this can be kind of confusing, so let's break this down a little bit. The appraisal value is the value of a home that is given to the home by the appraiser, obviously. And the appraiser will come out to the home and he will look at some very superficial aspects of the home, the size of the home, the age of the home, the location of the home. They're all very superficial, surfacey kind of things that you can find in a home. Next, the appraiser will look at some of the other homes that are in the area or that are similar in style, and he will kind of come up with an average for the other homes that have recently sold or are currently on the market to determine the appraisal value of the home that he's doing the appraisal on. Most of the time, this appraisal value is really just used by the lenders. When you are getting a loan to buy a home, a lender or a bank wants to make sure that you're not borrowing a lot more or any more for the home than it's worth. So they have an appraiser go out to the home to determine what they think the home is worth. But when it comes to selling a home, really, in my opinion, and in most sellers' opinion, the value that is the most significant is the market value. The market value would be the price that a buyer is willing to pay for the home. That buyer could be using a lender or not, could be paying with cash. It could be a loan that does not have an appraisal contingency. So there is very much a difference between the appraisal value and the market value. And how you price a home sort of needs to take into consideration the appraisal value, but it definitely needs to take into consideration the market value. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Victor, and I make videos all about selling your own home. I totally acknowledge that you can sell your own home. It's certainly possible, but it is kind of difficult. If you at any point get overwhelmed or you feel like, hey, this is maybe a little bit more than I thought it would be, feel free to reach out. All of my contact information is in the description below. I'd be happy to help you connect with a listing agent in your area to help you sell your home for the most amount of money possible. So another thing that you should know about pricing your home for sale is what exactly is the market value of your home. And the truth is that finding the market value is not quite as scientific as an appraisal. It's not as concrete. Market value can fluctuate depending on the time of year, depending on the interest rate, depending on the way that the inside of a home is decorated. All sorts of things can factor into determining the market value of a home. And while it is sort of helpful to see what the other homes in the area are selling for, the truth is that some homes can have a beautiful interior that are well decorated or well staged, or they present well during showings, and some homes may not have any kind of staging, or they may look terrible on the inside, or the curb appeal may look terrible. So just looking at the pricing of the homes that have recently sold is really just one way to figure out the market value of the home. It's one factor to figure out the market value. There are many other factors involved. So one tool that a listing agent has to their advantage is that they have the MLS where the pictures are all stored of recently sold homes. For example, if you look on Zillow or Realtor.com, you're not going to find the pictures of the interior of a home of homes that have already sold. These things are kept on the MLS though, so we can kind of see, you know, that home did get a lot more money than the average of the neighborhood, but we can see that the interior was decorated perfectly. You know, we can also see the seller's property disclosure that there were no problems with the home. However, this other home in the neighborhood that sold well below the average of the neighborhood, it wasn't that the neighborhood average home value was that low, it was that the interior didn't look very well, or the seller's property disclosure said that there was some kind of foundation problem or some kind of water problem to the home. So there is a bit more info on the MLS to help determine market value. And then while we're talking about Zillow and Realtor.com, they do often have an estimate of how much those companies think that your home is worth. Of course, if you know any real estate agent, you know that real estate agents don't really love these websites and their estimations for how much a home is worth. And the reason for that is because Zillow and Realtor.com and Redfin are not in the business of just helping people for free. They're in the business of making a profit like any other company. And what they do is they buy and sell homes. So naturally, they're going to lead a seller on to think that their home is worth more than it really is. So those Zestimates often say a price that is not accurate when it comes to selling your home. In fact, we have regularly seen that the Zestimate changes when we list a home. For example, if 123 Main Street is worth, according to Zillow, $500,000, and we list that home with an appropriate market value of $550,000, then we have oftentimes noticed that the Zestimate increases as soon as the home is listed to 550 or 560. And again, it's because Zillow is trying to get people to reach out to Zillow for selling the home. Same with Redfin, same with all of these other companies that buy and sell homes. So using those estimates from those websites can get you in the ballpark, certainly, but it's not going to be the most accurate way to figure out the value of your home. One thing that you should certainly keep in mind when it comes to finding a price to list your home for sale is whether or not that price can change or even should change. And the answer is yes, you certainly can change the price of your home. If you discover that you've listed it too low and you want to increase the price, on the listing, on Zillow or on Real, you certainly can. You absolutely can change the price of your home. One strategy that we often suggest is that if a home sits on the market for very long and we see that clearly market averages are increasing and that home prices are increasing in value, then it makes sense to increase the price of the home if it's sitting on the market for a very long time. Again, that kind of depends on why it's sitting on the market. If it's because it's wintertime, December, January, and there's not a lot of people buying homes, but the home has just been on the market for a long time during those months, then it makes sense to increase the price of the home if you're getting into the spring and early summer. However, the more common scenario is that if the home sits on the market for a very long time, it may be that the price of the home is too high and maybe buyers aren't seeing the home, or they are seeing the home and are thinking, oh, this is not worth the amount that the home is listed for. In which case, it totally makes sense to lower the price of the home to whatever you think is appropriate. We usually use the 30-day mark to determine when to lower the price of a home if it's been on the market for too long. That first week or so is very helpful for determining if the price is appropriate or not, but if we haven't received an offer that we like, then we typically wait until about the 30-day mark to have a price adjustment a little bit lower to ideally get more eyes on the home for sale. If the pricing of the home is too high, then it will certainly get more and more days on market, which will make people think that there's something wrong with the home. And that's certainly something that you want to avoid. You want to be able to sell the home quickly. That's the difference between listing a home for sale with the appropriate price and an inappropriate price. If the price of the home is correct and it is appropriate and it is getting a lot of attention from the market, then it should go under contract pretty quickly. And ultimately, that's the goal that we're trying to help our clients with. We want to make sure that their home sells as quickly as possible. In fact, we made an entire video about other tips for selling a home as quickly as possible. If you want to see those tips, you can check out this video here. I'll see you in the next video.